15 Space Marines on a dead man's chest. It's the Large Blast podcast. I'm your host, Stoney, and I'm joined, as always, by Welshie.
Walk the plank and Roger the cabin boy.
And Matt.
Ahoy, me hearties.
And we're here today to talk about all things Warhammer, in particular, the Pirates of Warhammer. But before we do that, we're going to get things kicked off with a bit of hobbies goings on. You know the score. Matt, what have you been up to?
I've been looking at my map and looking for the X.
All right, we can't keep this up all episode. I'm vetoing this immediately.
No, I haven't really been doing much different to when we recorded last. The only thing I have started doing is rearranging my shelves.
That's always fun.
Yeah, doing some cleaning, rearranging what's it called? The Deltoff.
Oh, Dettol, the IKEA Dettol,
yeah.
Friend of many a collector.
Getting some stuff is getting relegated and making room.
For what?
I feel like subconsciously I'm not getting much done because there's nowhere to put it. So I think some empty space, not empty shelves, but one of them is going to have all the Blackstone Fortress stuff.
This sounds like more procrastination as to why you're not painting up models. Where's them noise boys you started the other day? You're like, oh, don't worry, Stoney, I'm going to paint the noise boys. 15 nights later, here we are. I'm going to clean all my shelves.
Yeah, they're half done with a load of Templars. There'll be a Templar shelf, a Krieg shelf, a Blackstone Fortress shelf. Yeah, all chained. The Admech's going to have one shelf. It's got two at the moment.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we've talked enough about how many things you're going to assign to how many shelves in your room. Have you done anything else? Have you done any painting?
No, I've done bits of painting, little bits. I'm working from home at the moment because we're moving office for a couple of weeks, and spending like 9-10 hours at my desk means that at the end of the day, the idea of sitting there again and painting is just not. So I'm kind of just painting on the weekend if I paint at all. So production has been slow over here. But what about one of you?
What about you, Welshie?
I'm here on the LBP. We are men of our word. And I have painted the first 11th edition box set model. So you might have seen it on, if you haven't, go over to the Large Blast Shorts YouTube channel. You can see a video of me doing it. But I painted up the Ancient from the box set in the Mortifactors colour scheme, as promised.
And it kind of reminded me of the episode we recorded. Because the face has got like a skull on, hasn't it?
Yeah, so I wanted to try and do like a kind of, just like a Reaver skull face paint on the actual face, which is something I've never tried before. And I think it's worked all right, to be honest. I underpainted it normally as a face, and I say normally, my just go-to Flayed One Flesh Gilliman contrast over the top. And then just kind of almost dry brushed the white on, so it looked like kind of worn, and then just put the black really in around the eyes. And I think it's worked out all right. It's a little bit kind of Day of the Dead. Like, it's almost a bit too cartoony. I might see if I can work out how to make it a bit darker.
It did really look like kind of smudged face paint. Like,
yeah,
I think
just doing what it was.
Doing that really simple face underneath. Because obviously you're going to put like white on it. There's no point in like going to town on a crazy face and then just putting on a white mask over the top of it, kind of thing. So I thought it worked out good for that. I must admit, I was a bit surprised by the colours. I thought the Mortifactors were like white and black, or is that the other guys that have the claws?
Well, they range from white to kind of bone and black. And I've done a lot of white because I'm painting white scars for Horus Heresy, so I lent more into the bone side of white for it. But yeah, they are black and that. And then they do have that little green bit of trim. But I tried to keep it quite like a muted colour palette. And I took a load of there's so much superfluous detail in the new 11th edition models. So I actually dremeled off a load of the like raised laurels and detail on there to make them look a little bit more like sparse. Because I think they're supposed to be kind of like scout style sparse. They're kind of backwater guys rather than full fancy pants guys.
I'll tell you what was a bit too sparse for my liking, Welshie, and that was the Rock. You didn't
There's
paint
one
the
per
rock.
foot.
But you didn't paint it. It was black.
Wow.
What happened? Why you didn't take the plunge? You need to make a decision. People need to make a decision on the rocks, and we need to stick to it.
The rock, you might not have come across in the video, but the rock is black to brown, and it's got a hard coat sheen on it, so it's like onyx. And the reason it's like that is that my Black Templars and my Sisters of Battle are all based in the same way. So if I ever do start playing Warhammer again, I'll be able to have like a cohesive force from all of these little side factions.
It's not canon. I didn't hear them talking about that.
I'm sorry, it's not Armageddon sand for you, Stoney. I'm sorry.
Why did you? I remember I thought that was like the best Space Marine in the box. Why did you pick that one first?
Yeah, I think because I was obviously going to pick one of the characters because who tests a paint scheme on just a standard Space Marine? That's dull. I just thought it worked quite well. Like I kind of knew what I wanted to add, like a little bit. I added a few more skulls and stuff to the banner that was there, and I wanted to. The banner has a big flat circle in the middle for the symbol, and the Mortifactor symbol is actually quite relevant for today. It's just a skull.
Oh yeah.
So I needed to practice freehand in skulls. So I thought a big flat circle was probably the best place to start. And then I did also do one on the pauldron that came out all right. But it's always best to practice freehand on a flat surface to get your eye in and work out like. I think the tip with any freehand stuff is just break it down into shapes, right? So a skull is just a circle with like an oblong at the bottom, and then you can cut the black back in. But yeah, it's one of the best in the box, and I thought Stoney would like it because there's a tactical rock per foot, you know.
Oh, I like the rocks. Don't get me. You know, I like the rocks. I just want to make sure that everything's above board and we're keeping it. Official rock watch is never sleeps.
Does the kit come with like a little bag of rocks, or are the rocks within the sprue?
They're very much attached to the feet, Matt. You can't choose to not include the rock. They're part of the mold.
Yeah, of course they would be. Yeah,
they're very, very much there.
Oh, God damn.
You wouldn't want that. And then the second thing, and that'll be the next video out on the channel probably, is I sprayed up some of Stoney's Alien Corporation guys. They're undercoated, ready to slap some paint on those at some point and get a video out on them as well. So yeah, if you want to see some of Stoney's work, that'll be coming up. But you can get them already on Colts. Is that right, Stoney?
Not quite yet. No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're all finished. Everything is finished on them. You have them. I can prove they're finished and that. I'm just making a video for them. I should put them up and all the rest of it, but I haven't done that just yet. But yeah, it's happening. It's actually happening, guys. It's done.
This is your news.
I know this is my news. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, so there you go. They're good. They're ready to go. And like I've been thinking, like because obviously, but I think that they are legally distinct enough. I can hold my head up with these and say these aren't yours, Games Workshop. These are mine. They don't have bolters or whatever. I've been very careful in my wording. They're an alien coven. Don't you worry about that. They're an alien coven.
Finance, cutting-edge technology. Accurate information is the Large Blast podcast news. Hear every episode.
Knobs out for the boys. It's orcs. That's right. And there's new knobs. There's new orcs. The orc range continues to churn out some cool models.
Yeah, definitely. These that we're looking through right now are some of the most characterful orcs I've ever seen, and that's saying a lot because there's a lot of orcs with a lot of character, including some we'll talk about later, no doubt. But yeah, I really think they are some of the best knobs, but also some of the worst knobs. I don't know what you boys think about this selection.
I'm loving the grotlings. They're called grotlings. The one carrying the ammo was pretty cool.
They all seem to have little guys like carrying guns and ammo for them.
Yeah, I quite like that.
Yeah, big fan of that.
Not sure about the big axe guy.
Yeah, there's some guys I think in this new orc range that are very much in the style of old goths, like bandoliers, massive weapons, gun barrels stuck to gun barrels. And then there's some more like close combat-y ones that just don't really seem to hit the spot. They almost don't look like orcs.
They don't look like
I keep
40K.
telling you, boys, there's no look, it doesn't matter. it doesn't matter what they release for orcs. It's all just adds to the pile of orc. Do you think that there's an orc player out there that doesn't know how to chop off a bit and stick on another gun from something? That's what they're all like. That's a part of being an orc player.
Whoa,
if you're an
that
orc player,
flamer.
Exactly, the flamer guy looks badass.
He's got a whole barrel
That
of kerosene
flamer
on
is
his
amazing.
back.
That
Yeah.
flamer is amazing. It's so big.
Yeah, and then even cooler than that, for me anyway, because these are one of my favourites as a kid, a new Orc Warbike kit has come in with the full Dakar on either side. And look, you can tilt the orcs as well, Stoney.
You can tilt them.
You can tilt them. Just like the Space Marines.
How technology has moved on. What a year to be alive.
Was that in the... I thought I might have seen that there was a new Space Marine biker. I don't remember where I've seen that.
Maybe it's a leak. I know that there was a leak today, which we won't have any full news on, that everyone got super excited about. There's a new Imperial Knight.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
they're leaking
Calm
more
yourselves,
stuff.
boys.
There's been another leak.
Another leak. Yeah, it's a sprue leak it's an Imperial Knight with a slightly different gun.
How are they? I still don't understand how we get, like, they're so litigious. They're like, they're cracking down on all this stuff. And still there's some guy that's just out there with like a potato camera phone. He's probably out there. He probably like fucking jizzes his national insurance number into the crime scene and then runs away, leaving his address on a label. And it's like, what's going on?
They gotta be fake leaks, haven't they? A lot of these, they gotta be pretend to drum up intrigue.
Yeah, I was sort of wondering, I did see that sort of flash up, why they don't do like I guess maybe they can't, like a no mobile phone thing with like there must be an area in the factory
They're
where
too fucking soft.
kits.
I revealed last episode I've done a very, very minor amount of contact and like working with Games Workshop, and they were all lovely. They were too nice.
Oh.
If at any point they'd had to say, "Give me your phone," and I'd given them my phone whilst at the same time obviously wearing a hat, like a turban with a fucking film camera inside of it, they would have been way too polite and middle class to have questioned my wearing hat.
I can't see him going after people that work there, but I also do think that the leak frequency is there's some purpose behind some of this. There's definitely some purpose, because so often they're ahead of the game with the follow-up. Sometimes they're not, and that's clear, but this time they definitely are.
I wonder if, yeah, at the moment it sort of suits their interests with, like we were discussing last time, more and more reports of the lackluster sales of the Armageddon set.
Yeah.
That maybe like to try and sort of drum up some interest.
Like, look, we've got better stuff. We've got better stuff waiting.
There's more coming. Yeah.
Rolling in my 6-4.
Hi, Large Blast podcast listener, and welcome to the pirate episode of the Large Blast podcast. Now, you're probably thinking this means the boys will spend all their time going "arr" and doing dodgy pirate impressions. But that was the old Large Blast podcast. You see, we have recently partnered with the Free Pirating of Stereotypes campaign, and we are now committed to portraying pirates as real people who have found themselves in desperate situations and who should... Oh, hang on a second, I got this phone call. Oh, I see, you're telling me the Free Pirating of Stereotypes movement's check didn't clear, eh? Okay, alright then.
Arr, shipmates, it's your Captain Stoney here, ready to take you on a swashbuckling adventure through the world of Warhammer pirating. So strap on your peg legs and let's get right into it. Arr!
What is a pirate in 40k? Do you know what I mean? Is it like, because do you drive around and board people? Because obviously if you're from the Imperium, then all you really, if you are just sort of trading in kind of alien goods, then you would be considered a pirate, right? Or you don't necessarily...
I guess you'd be like that would be
sort of like a
naughty,
smuggler.
Naughty by the Inquisitor.
A smuggler. I think a smuggler is a subgenre of
sub-pirate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the shipping lanes. So it's like this, the big aspect of 40k that doesn't really get spoken about, because space is obviously the biggest area of the Imperium. And within that void, there are shipping lanes in real space. There are fleets traveling in real space. So trade fleets, not war fleets. And in areas that are not particularly controlled by the Imperium or governed with the fist of the Imperium and the Navy to back that up. These areas of space actually just are a law unto themselves, and that's a lot of the Imperium, especially on the fringes and in areas with like asteroid belts. So these trade fleets are actually really open for attack, and that's really what the Imperial pirates go for. They raid trade vessels, and the trade vessels can sometimes operate in convoys to help protect them. They might pay for defensive ships to join them. And the Imperial Navy, one of the biggest things that they have to do, like their main jobs, is to defend the trade fleets, as opposed to like securing space from mankind's enemies. Because I suppose the trade fleets are sort of everywhere, all over the galaxy. So the Imperial Navy puts a lot of resource into fighting the pirates. And the other resource that you can look and see mention of Imperial pirates is in Battlefleet Gothic. There used to be a Battlefleet Gothic magazine. There's a whole section in there where you can make your own pirate fleet, and play battles as like scenarios and stuff. And I read something like 15,000 fleets, like pirate fleets, are operating within the Imperium. But there's some estimation of size. So they can operate like as a band of pirates on a ship. That's like the classic pirate image. And they might have a base somewhere, could be on an asteroid or a moon, somewhere that they can sort of hide away. Or you can get loads of them sort of grouping together in actual fleets, so like pirate fleets hiding in asteroids and coming out to raid these trade convoys. I don't know what will be in the trade convoys. It could be food, money. I guess there's a black market. So maybe they take the ships. They could sell the ships. Maybe they sell the crew and sell the stuff that's on board the ship as well, I guess. They use and this is where I think they really toe the line between a traitor and a pirate, because at some point somebody that they're obviously turning away from the law and following the law, but they're also sort of treading a fine line between what the Inquisition could question about their loyalties. Often Imperial pirates will use war zones as a massive distraction. So some of these trading fleets, convoys, could be operating near or in war zones, and the Navy is obviously going to be very distracted. So the Imperial pirates, I mean, I keep calling them Imperial pirates, but they're just kind of like, they don't, well, they're a boss unto themselves, I suppose. They raid those Imperial fleets while the Imperium is distracted because they're fighting an enemy. So it could be on the eastern fringes against the Tau, which I thought was quite interesting. A lot of the Imperial pirates do have this streak of independence to them. So they see themselves as being free from the law of terror and the throne without falling to chaos. So they're kind of that middle ground of not being loyalist, which I know we've spoken about before. And I kind of thought like that could be an interesting kill team where it's a non-imperial aligned, non-chaos affiliated kill team of humans. But it might not necessarily just be humans. They work with other pirates. So
I guess it's
pirates.
hard to like you say, like you're almost in Red Corsairs territory there,
Yeah.
which I don't think we're going to talk too much about today because we kind of did a whole episode on them when they got released. But they are like reaching the same middle ground, but from the other side, right? So they are non-directly chaos affiliated heretic pirates. So like maybe a kill team would be really similar, but except instead of having like Chaos Space Marine armor, they have like Imperial armor, but it's like almost heretical. But they wouldn't have any of the like They
there'd
wouldn't
be
have
no
had like the
chaos.
symbols of Khorne or the symbols of Slaanesh. It would
They,
just be like fuck the Empire, like
yeah, or it
fuck
could
the
just be skull and
Imperium.
crossbones. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
no,
classic.
no
But it's
eagles.
weird,
Yeah,
like it sounds like from when you were researching it that like whether this is the Imperial Lords of Terror hiding the fact, but that there doesn't seem to be any kind of named character pirates. Like they're just keeping it hush on the Imperial side. Like it's definitely something that's happening. It's something they ward against. They've got police for,
yeah,
but
yeah.
there don't seem
It's,
to be any kind of examples of it happening.
I kind of went in to try. I was actually surprised actually by how little there was. Like the journal from '96 and the Battlefleet Gothic magazine was around the early 2000s, I think. There's no mention of characters. Looking online, I don't think I really found any sort of character with a lot of information written about them because
Mm.
there were novels set in, based on Battlefleet Gothic and set in the Imperial Navy. You'd have thought those might have mentioned. I would have thought one of those had mentioned pirates, but it appears not. Yeah, I guess they are just quite similar to inquisitors and rogue traders who I guess are slightly more interesting in the context of 40k, like
Do you think
space
rogue
pirates.
traders maybe? I know way back, I think we've done a full episode on rogue traders, but I
Yeah,
think we decided in that they weren't really pirates, they were like privateers.
yeah, but I
Because of
mean,
that link and because of that rosette to the Imperium, that although they kind of act like pirates,
yeah,
they are doing it under the supervision of, or at least under the knowledge
they
of
have
the Imperium.
yeah, and they have the badge yeah, they have
Yeah, the
the
seal
badge
or
behind
whatever it's
them.
called.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess, if you're writing a story about an interesting character within 40k, you'd go Inquisitor or a rogue trader rather than a pirate.
I
I
mean,
would maybe.
rogue traders are pirates in the sense that they are lawless and that they don't have to obey anybody's law. It's just that they're allowed to be lawless, and pirates are
Yeah.
just lawless
That's
because
what I'm
they
saying.
don't
They're
give a fuck.
privateers rather than pirates. They're the
Mm.
drakes
Mm,
of the Imperium. You know.
yeah,
The,
Yeah, so they still
yeah,
got that buccaneering spirit. It's just they're
definitely.
not. They just don't have a skull and crossbones.
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. But it's
And I mean,
interesting
some of
that.
them that's got some of them probably do kind of fall off the straight and narrow, like rogue traders. What is probably about
oh,
50% of them end
definitely.
up going rogue or something, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
But
literally in the name.
and I mean,
yeah,
I know we say that there's no named character, no named pirate characters in the Imperium, but I guess that depends on what your definition of pirates is.
yeah.
Because have you ever heard of Preen from the Warhammer graphic novel Grim Repast?
No.
No.
Well, Preen is basically a guy that sells counterfeit luxury goods.
Oh.
And he's a big time pirate in that sense of the term. And he eventually ends up getting found by the RBTs who bash out his teeth and send him to a penal colony.
So,
I'm
so,
listening.
so what? He's like a pirate DVD salesperson.
He's like a pirate DVD salesman.
But I'm imagining
actually,
like a load of people gathered round watching pirate DVDs, listening to Necromunda Garage. You know, pirate radio being set up. There's a few samples being dropped in from the latest quartet.
Hell yeah. Well,
Yeah.
also, just whilst we're on the subject, Matt, I was just wondering if you'd be interested in buying. I've actually got here some splinters from that came out of the Emperor's throne. They got stuck in his ass. I was just wondering if you'd like to buy some of these
Yeah.
splinters. Yeah.
Yeah. But well, we agree our price first.
Okay. Probably what, like about
You cut
£3?
this bit
Seems
out, yeah.
fair. Yeah, seems fair. About £3, right?
Well, I don't
I'll
know,
give you
like two
That's
and
a
a
three.
half.
bargain.
I'll give you three and a
Two,
half.
no,
Three and a
no.
half. That's a bargain. Oh yeah. Okay, Welshie. Yeah, cheap at the price. Okay, I'll stick them in the post. But wait, what if I told you you've just been ripped off because I've become a relic monger? That's
Oh.
right. They're the people that sell relic mongers is the term for the people that sell counterfeit or pirated relics, like
Oh,
fake finger bones and things of that nature. Quite often,
Oh.
it's quite often a bit of a side hustle for the guys in the house called
bet.
Caldor in
Yeah.
Necromunda, apparently.
That's brilliant. Like some guy just blessing them, but they're chopping off like digits from their rival gangs, and they've got some
Yeah.
drunken
The
priest like
saint's
on the
finger.
miod, like blessing the fingers, spitting on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Are you
sending
sure
them
this
off.
is the Emperor's knob? It looks like.
I thought he was circumcised.
Modeling just sucks. They made me take off my top.
Gentlemen, I'm here and I've got I never want to be put in this position, but I was asked to yet again stand up for the Eldar. And I've got to say, when it comes to pirates, the Eldar seem to be wiping the floor with the bloody Imperium. They've literally got a paint named after their lead pirate. So you guys must have used Uriel Yellow before. Or
Yeah.
even the home world of Prince Uriel, the pirate prince, Iamden Yellow. 2 paints named after
I'm
pirates.
afraid not, Welsh. I've made a vow never to use a Xenos themed paint. I keep all my guys are painted in simple Imperial colours.
Yeah, so double yellow, Prince Uriel. So he is an example, probably the main example of a Corsair. Not the red Corsairs, those guys totally stole the name from the Eldar. The Eldar Corsairs are made up of, well, they're quite simply, they're the coolest fucking Eldar. Because they
Yeah.
are a selection of Eldar that refuse to walk the paths on a craft world and refuse to like eat dry cornflakes and give up wanking on an exodite planet. And are just like, no, fuck you guys, fuck Sinesh, I'm gonna live my life to the full. I'm gonna go raiding. And I'm gonna put together a ragtag team where maybe I've got a guy that's fed up of no wanking. He's come over from the Exodites, he's joining my squad. I've got a guy from the Crafts world, I've got a seer, I've got Drukari that was like, you know what? Drukari's a little bit too much for me. I've had my time in Camorra. I've seen too many things in dark alleyways. I
It's
want
the
a
pirate
slightly
life for
straighter
me.
life.
The
Exactly.
stars is a cruel mistress, and I can't turn me back on her. Arr.
They are the
Arr.
example of putting the crew together and sailing the stars on a pirate life. But it's taken to the next level. Like, we're not talking a small ship here. Prince Uriel, when he left Iamden, went off in a fucking huge ship. There's I don't know how many people. I couldn't find an exact number, but it's like almost like a world's worth of like ragtag pirates that follow him round, and they're just for sure the coolest Eldar, and they also have one of the coolest kill teams as well. But they have kind of their own version of navigators, void seers that can kind of predict the future within the warp and plan where they're going to go. Yeah, they've got like they just use whatever weapons they like. So if they're like, oh, this Eldar gun's like not good enough at destroying people's souls, perhaps I'll use this Drukari one instead. Like,
So,
they do what they
so
like.
are they the Exodites?
No, they're not the Exodites at all. The Exodites are
The
like,
Exodites are the dinosaur no wanking cornflakes
Oh,
guys.
yeah,
so-
yeah, yeah. The
it's so
Exodites
funny.
are like the
It's-
backwards people. They're a bit like the monks.
My whole idea with this episode was because I wanted to learn about the Exodites.
Well, you're not going to, Matt.
You didn't even do it. You did nothing. You didn't even read about it until just literally whilst we were doing it.
No, I'd rather get taught.
You've learned
about
nothing.
It
You've like reverse learned like during this.
Well, I have learned something. I've learned that the Exodites, the ones that ride the cool dinosaurs, are not Eldar pirates, and we won't be talking about them.
No,
So,
we won't. In fact, didn't we already talk about them, Stoney, when Matt was away?
I think actually you might have done, yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know.
You know what? I
Doesn't
feel
even
like
listen to the
I'm
previous
forgetting things
episode.
now. I've dropped a couple of IQ points over the course of this conversation.
So anyway, to bring it back to Prince Uriel, he's a badass. He fell out with the government on Iamden. He put a crew together. They sailed the stars. He managed to get this really cool spear called the Spear of Twilight, which literally like sucks souls out of people and like eats their souls, like destroys them completely. I think it's a soul sucker. And then
Oh yeah.
he does
Gets
something which is a
lonely
little
up
bit
there in the
strange.
stars, doesn't it? And you're all alone, just passing the soul sucker around you and the boys.
Bend over, I need to get the soul sucker. So he he then does something that might be a little bit strange and potentially shifts him a bit towards that privateer life. That when his homeworld of Iandan comes under attack by the Tyranids, he takes his whole like mega pirate fleet back to Iandan and basically saves it without his return.
Oh,
The
right.
Tyranids would have destroyed it completely. So he's not completely without allegiance, but he was like, I don't like the way you're running things. I'm going off and having some fun. It's like a massive gap year.
Yeah.
Does he have a model?
Yes, I think he does. It's the one with the massive flag.
Do
It's
they
got a
paint them-
huge
I think
flag?
you might have a couple of iterations over the
Do
years.
they still do the heavy metal team paint him in yellow?
Yeah, so you often
Right.
see him like leading, like in the rule book, he'll still be with an Iandan Eldar force, which are the yellow ones with the blue
Yeah.
helmets, you know.
Yeah.
That would be such a piss take if he was called like Yand in yellow. He's like, no, I only wear green.
But it's cool that they're called princes and princesses, and then there are other roles. They're like below them. They have like a full pirate structure where there's barons below the princes, and then there's something called felchark. I know felarks. I said felcharks. Back to the soul sucking, and like specialist bands within that. So they do seem like
So
the best
Yeah, I
way
mean,
to
they're
play
still Eldar about
Eldar.
it at the end of the day, aren't they?
do they use I was going to say Wraithbone, but I mean, what's the thing that they put their soul into?
Yeah, so they are still at risk of Slanesh. So obviously, because they haven't committed to like monk life like the Exodites, and they haven't committed to only focusing on a single path like the Craft World Eldari, they are much more at risk of falling into like
Oh,
I want everything, like
do-
give me everything now, which
do
means
they
are
do
at
they
more
wear
risk of
soul
Slanesh.
stones?
So they do have them on their
Right.
models, yeah.
Okay.
They're not immune to Slanesh at all, and they're probably the most likely to be devoured if they didn't have the soul stone because they're not focused on a singular thing. Like even the Drakari, at least they're focused on like they're really going for it, you know. I
Yeah.
feel like there's some respect from Slanesh there.
It's still all justified
So
by
what-
trying to save their souls, even if it
Yeah.
is a bit mad.
So what do they raid?
Like
Is it like humans?
yeah,
or just
everything
anyone?
really. They're
All
just
right.
like they're up for a laugh. I think they get what they want. They're all kind of like maybe they're more like I don't know. Did like the East India Company have like raiding parties and stuff? These guys are like super well off. They're like the height of
Yeah,
technology.
maybe.
Well,
they're
they
not
definitely
like
ended up
they're
with
not
kind
like
of like a
your
military
Jack
section.
Sparrow. Yeah, these guys very much are like they're the best of the best. They've got a huge fleet. You can't really fuck with them if
Yeah.
they're gonna pirate you. There's not much you can do about it. You know, it's they're not like a plucky gang of guys who've scraped together a living.
They're the sort
like
of Starbucks
princes.
of pirates.
Yeah, exactly. They're the fucking Eldar of pirates, right?
Yeah,
mean,
I guess so.
That's what they are.
Yeah.
They can throw as many flowy scarves on as they like, but we know they're Eldar deep down.
So Prince Uriel would be a pretty good fella to have in our crew, I think.
It's funny whilst you were talking about him because I actually know a guy as well who might be able to help us out, and he's actually got a few similarities with the Prince Uriel's story. So
Okay.
I wondered. Well, firstly, before we get started, I want to point out that he's a Necron. So a lot of this.
Whoa.
And as you guys have, as it's been well established, I can't read Necron words, so I'm going to put a lot of this in text to speech to save myself from fumbling over them.
His name is Fazar.
We'll see what text to speech has to say about that.
It's gonna get confused.
Yeah. So anyway, he's from he first makes an appearance as a mention in the 5th Necron Codex. He doesn't have a model or anything, but Fazar, or whatever he is, or Fazar the Invincible, as he prefers to be known, basically he was kicked out during the War in Heaven for reasons that are very undisclosed, exiled from his planet of
Zapanek.
During the War in Heaven, which was basically being attacked by Eldar at the time. And there were so many Eldar fighting so many Necrons that the whole orbit of the planet of
Zapanek
got filled with so much living metal and wraithbone that it kind of created like a cool sort of shell around it. that sort of became like partly a part of its defense system. They exiled
Thasser or Thasser the Invincible.
whilst they were having this big fight. And he ended up climbing aboard his massive spaceship, the Tomb Ship, and sailed it off, which eventually ended up crashing it in, well, just fucking it off because they all needed to go into their big sleep. The hibernation time was coming, and he's like, shit, we all need to go to sleep. Just fuck it off onto this planet over there, and we'll work it out when we wake up. So whilst they were all asleep, that planet became known as
Athanos,
which was an imperial world. It's quite a cool world. It's basically sort of run a sort of a warring world that's got these like gangs and Necromunda style shit going on. And it had notable Imperial Guard regiment, the Athaian Tunnel Rats. So whilst they were asleep, everything's going off on Athanos, everything's ticking by, and then he wakes up.
Thasser or Thasser the Invincible.
Wakes up, and he's like, oh shit. It's time to wake up, and he's a bit earlier than everybody else. He wakes up a bit early, so he gets up and he wakes up on the planet and basically just fucking destroys a load of stuff. But he hasn't seen humans before, so all the humans are running around going crazy trying to get their planetary defenses in order because they've obviously never seen anything like this before. And he doesn't even register them as intelligent life forms. He thinks of them as basically like insects. So he just more or less ignores them and like.
So he just walks around.
He just sort of walk. Yeah, essentially they all just like him and the guys, just him and his mates just sort of wander around, blowing up a couple of buildings, destroying stuff, like just clearing the way to get their spaceship, their Tomb-world spaceship out, which then flies back to his original home world.
Zapanek is the crown world of the Sarnek dynasty.
Oh yeah, they're a big one, aren't they?
They're like, they didn't have a. No, I think you're thinking of Zarek.
Yeah.
There's lots that sound very similar.
Words.
I don't think they've had one of the major like color schemes for a while. I think they might have been given one like more recently in like the secondary.
I don't think this guy has a
page.
model or anything.
No,
and he's going to be silver,
cool.
isn't he?
Yeah, it could be any of them. It could be.
He should call himself Long Cron Silver.
Yeah.
So he wakes up, he goes back to his home world state.
He goes back to his home world, and everybody there's still asleep. So he decides, right, now's my chance. Exile Hazar, will you? I'll fucking show you boys. And he goes down and he sort of hacks their mainframe and reprograms everybody to be like, yeah, you're the guy, you're the coolest guy ever, and make him into the Pharaon.
Yeah, he becomes the Pharaon, doesn't he? He convinces them that when they all wake up, he's in charge. Basically. When he's got nothing to do with it.
Yeah, basically.
Brilliant.
Baller pirate move that. He's pirated an entire Tomb World's worth of Necrons.
I'm the captain.
Yeah,
basically. He just shows up, he just claims a crew, basically.
It's mutiny.
Because the planet is surrounded by all this wraithbone and living metal, he gets to just pull bits of random spaceships and stuff out of there and basically makes himself a kick-ass pirate ship of wraithbone and living metal, and is then like, right, everybody, let's fuck this off on the Necron pirate ship. And they fuck around just being pirates, basically. And he lives, and they fuck around in the Webway. That's their big thing, as they travel around in the Webway, just fucking around with stuff out there in the, unfloated waters.
He's just great. Like, he is such a good character that I didn't really know about either until like this, looking up this stuff. And I'm already, my mind is racing for a conversion here of this.
Well,
fella.
one of the things that made me do it was I saw someone had printed some, designed and printed some wicked sort of pirate Necron models and they're all like in the kind of frilly coats and like neck ruffs and got like kind of like dueling pistols kind of thing,
Yeah, you could definitely use some of the Skitarii like coats over Necron. Would look really cool.
Yeah. So there's definitely some cool stuff out there.
It's just funny when you look at all of the other. If you read to like the Necron lore, you think about what like Orican and Trazyn and Illuminor Zeraz are trying to achieve, and the Silent King worrying about the dynastic empire of the entire Necron. This guy's been asleep for 65 million years, and all he wants to do when he wakes up is be a pirate.
Yeah,
what a legend! Just like
first he wants to get his revenge. He wakes up and he's like, I will have my revenge. And then he sails off there, does some like, dastardly swashbuckling shit. And then, the only thing he does on the way is blow up like an Eldar planet. He heads straight for his home world. And what he sees like an Eldar planet that's been hiding there for decades, like spying on stuff that the humans haven't noticed. And he's like, "Aha, fuck you," and just blasts it away.
Sorry if I struggle with your name, but that's one of many things I struggle to retain.
So, Matt, what you were saying about like the Imperium, I also kind of found surprisingly about Tau on my like Xenos conquest is that the Tau actually, wow, firstly, well done Tau for making it into a podcast episode. This is a rare event. But they do have, technically, they have privateers. So the Tau have something called the Commerce Protection Fleets. And these are privateers that follow on the outside
Even
of the
they'd
commerce.
call it the most boring thing. That literally sounds like a rubbish job you'd have at HSBC or something.
I'm a commerce protection officer.
Yeah.
And they fly alongside the like trade routes within the Tau Empire. And if anyone strays into the Tau Empire space, they will attack and like rob the stuff from them and then sell that back to like the engineering casts on Tau worlds. So they do play around a little bit, and they also have a merchant ship, a merchant navy as well. I mean, it's not lots I could find about Tau, but interesting to see that there was something outside of just like the standard Tau casts that does exist.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting because I kept mentioning the Eastern Fringe. I don't know if I've actually read it, but like the border between the Tau Empire and the Imperium is just sort of bleeding together. So there's a lot of like cross, don't know what the word is, but cross pollination. I don't know. They're sort of bleeding into each other, in terms of like the space. And I'm sure I read that there are because it's relatively a lawless area of the Imperium, so it's kind of perfect for human pirates to raid Imperial and Tau, and I'm sure there is a problem there. So it's kind of interesting that the Tau are trying to like fight back,
yeah,
and sell it back on. So who's the pirate? I don't know.
I don't know what the view is in terms of the greater good, but I guess it's for the greater good of the Tau Empire to rob people.
Yeah,
but they're definitely kind of fringe rather than like directly involved.
The 70s,
the 80s,
the 90s.
Ooh, we're going back in time.
Is that a space squad?
It's time we take you back
With a blast from the past.
Arr, mateys, drop the anchor and get out the rum because it's time to play a game of Man-O-War aboard this here frigate.
Arr!
That's
Arr!
right.
Man-O-War!
It's the game Warhammer you can play in the barf.
I'll read the so this is from 1993. Look it up if you've not seen it before. Ran from 1993.
I think we've talked about it before. It's
well,
a great
I was trying to remember that, but I wondered if you did. Yeah, I don't know. Let's talk about it again.
Yeah, definitely talk about it again. It was in the GW Boxed Games special episode around episode 40 or something like that.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Because I thought you might have mentioned Dreadfleet.
Well, that was the expansion for Man-O-War, wasn't it?
No, that was
either way. It's worth mentioning again.
Listen, I love Man-O-War. I've definitely talked about Man-O-War.
I'll read the
Well, then if
intro.
we didn't just go around repeating ourselves, then this wouldn't be the Large Blast podcast now, would it?
As an admiral of an ocean-going war fleet, you must command your ships, squadrons of ships of the line, and heavily armored Men-O-War in the battle for supremacy of the high seas. So this is obviously a game set in the Warhammer fantasy world, not in 40k. Apparently, it's a low complexity game, and contrary to other Games Workshop games that go you go I go, there's a unit activation. So you play with one ship, and then your opponent plays with one ship, which is actually more like historical war games. I think actually can be more fun because you can kind of have more of a real time aspect to the game. So you've played this, Stoney?
Well, no, because Well, I've definitely. It used to be in Games Workshop when they used to have a different table for all different games, and they always used to have a Mano War, and it was kind of even amongst my dweeb mates, people were like, "Mano War, that's too dweeby. We don't like that one," and so it was kind of looked down upon. As opposed to us cool 40K players.
So who are the factions, Matt? I'm looking at a picture of Manowar here, and I can see some proper like Spanish-style galleons.
Well,
I can see some orc flags in there.
Well,
and they also had a really cool Chaos Dwarf ones as well. Chaos Dwarf
okay.
boats.
I think that there were 6 factions to begin with. Bretonnia and Empire were definitely within that. Maybe one of the elves, high elves. There were then add-ons, so additional supplementary boxes that were released. Plague Fleet introduced extra fleets for the Ruinous Powers. There must have been a Chaos Fleet in the original 6. There was something called Sea of Blood, which introduced sea monsters and flying units.
Those were awesome. The beasties.
And there was definitely Bretonnian. Apparently, the Bretonnian ships are really highly sought after. That's one of the images we're looking at. The Empire stuff is just your classic kind of big, bulky wooden warship. But there were pirates, so we've also got some pictures of some pirate ships. There must have been some additional rules somewhere where there were pirate fleets that you could play, so you could have pirates in this game. It's like your classic blue tablecloth with some islands, cardboard islands that came with the original set. I assume you must have been able to go in and buy these ships on their own. Could you do that, Stoney? Do you remember?
Yeah, they just came in blister packs.
Okay.
Like like any other model at the time. There was one kind
in
of
plastic,
packaging.
or were they metal?
No, metal as fuck.
I did watch a long YouTube video about this. There must have been, I think we can just see it in the picture that we're looking at with the box, the original box set. There was a plastic sprue of what they called masts, and then
I think the box must have come with plastic models, but I think but all the but then
paper sails, so you could add your sails to the ships. And they're really small. That's the other thing you don't really you can't really see from the pictures we're looking at. The models are ships.
It's kind of like, epic scale as well. It's a
maybe
bit like,
even they're like 2 centimeters long. Like they're really small. Like the scale is very small for a Games Workshop game.
I can see a crab that's bigger than a ship.
So that must have been a sea monster.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, and a big shark.
I'm more likely to play this than I am ever to play Old World Warhammer. Like this just looks like a lot of fun.
Well, the game was originally by Nigel Stillman, I think his name. You'd recognise the picture of him. He's one of the main guys. I learned apparently loads of these guys in the early 90s coming into Games Workshop are all archaeologists. So there were loads of former archaeologists in working at Games Workshop. He was one of them. So he was particularly interested in, or he had a good understanding of historical naval stuff. So it's sort of set in like 1500s. So not like typical man of war, which are like Nelson's Navy and stuff. It's kind of much earlier than that, like Age of Empires sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, apparently very fun to play. But it was it only ran for 2 years, and there's lots of rumors as to why it was cancelled. And
everybody had a really bad reputation amongst even the dweebs. I'm telling you, everyone said it was shit.
Well, maybe, but one interesting rumor that I read was that it was cancelled because Games Workshop lost all the computer files for the game when they were moving offices to Nottingham. Yeah, when they were moving to Nottingham. And this may explain why Games Workshop is supposedly very lenient regarding scanned versions of the rules and stuff that you can still find online. But Games Workshop did
prove that they initially made it.
Yeah.
They were worried it was going to sink the company. They couldn't keep their heads above water.
Well, something that I swear, even lived for a shorter time, and it didn't threaten to sink the company, but they may have not have had as many profits as they planned to. Was the 2011 Warhammer Fantasy naval game called Dreadfleet, which was a modern version essentially of this, but as far as I can tell, the rule systems were completely different. So, in as much as it was a naval game set in the Warhammer fantasy world, and I swear that Dreadfleet was kind of I swear they advertised it and it just disappeared straight away. That game was really short lived. But in 2017, there was actually a single player open world video game based on this game, which I'd never heard of, called Man of War. And we're looking at a picture on the bottom left, which is a pirate ship being attacked by one of the sea monsters. It's like a
megalodon.
Yeah, megalodon, but it's called, I think, it's a play on typical Warhammer slight adaptation of the name, but a giant shark is attacking a pirate.
And
So
now
you play as a
that's why
pirate.
Games Workshop are suing Steven Spielberg for Jaws.
And just like following on from that, when I was saying there was no Imperial pirates, I thought I'd better check while we're just recording the podcast, and I came across
Trader Pirates
this
page.
Rogue Trader Pirates.
Yeah.
I'd never seen these before. There's like a range of like 30 of them. I mean, some of they're kind of like
They look
they
almost
look more like Necromunda.
The Necromunda, or like the D&D models they made for a while, don't they?
Yeah.
They're
But
not.
they were Iron Claw
cool.
Space
Generic.
Pirates,
Right.
1988. So, yeah, there we go. So there were some. I mean, he's got a pirate hat on. So if you don't know what we're talking about, pump it into Google. I mean, yeah, they're clearly really old.
Pretty
They're
awful models.
Yeah.
Some of them are pretty damn bad.
Yeah. What is that guy's hair? But some of them, I mean, that's like a classic pirate head turban. Yeah.
Not great models. These have got to be one of the worst blasts from the past we've ever looked at. These are up there with fucking Tree Man.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. They're really
Iron
bad.
Claw was like a spin-off, wasn't it? Because all of the old metal squats were called the Iron Claw squats. So I don't know whether it was a spin-off game or a spin-off company within the production side of things that was advertised in Rogue Trader. But I know some of the old dodgy squat sculpts were all called Iron Claw squats that had similar kind of headgear and caps and stuff.
Well, maybe that's why they never went back down the Imperial pirate route.
Oi, you gits! Don't forget about me, Captain Badruck.
How could we, boys, forget about one of the best and actually very recent Large Blast Shorts videos, Captain Badruck. Excellent sculpt and orc pirate. This dude actually has a pirate hat.
Yeah.
I bet old Fazar and Prince Uriel couldn't rock a tri-point if they tried.
No.
No,
I mean, I feel like and orcs, they truly encapsulate the pirate spirit.
Oh yeah, even the normal orcs are pirates. They're all kind of pirates in their own ways. They're all up for looting shit, but this guy is the big pirate boss. He's got the coat, he's got the chest to stand on. He's got a tactical chest. Who else has a tactical treasure chest?
Too right.
So he is the leader of the freebooters. And the freebooters, you've been able to play in game for ages, and they've always had some of the coolest lore that's kind of coincides a bit with the looters. So looters scavenge the ground, and you used to be able to like adapt your looters so that there was a phase where you could like utilize weapons of other people on the board as if your looters had picked them up. That was really cool. They have access to all kinds of things. So the freebooters are a little bit like that, i.e. they're robbing stuff from people, but they're also kind of mercenaries for hire. So the freebooters will go with their expensive weapons that they've either bought by collecting and stealing lots of teeth, or they've found from scavenging, or they've robbed from other races, and act as mercenaries at the behest of other orc warlords. But the guy kind of at the top of that mercenary overwatch is Captain Badrock. He is the kind of leader, the biggest freebooter out there. And because they're very wealthy, these orcs, they have a lot to do with the bad moons. So the yellow orcs, yellow in orc language symbolizes wealth, rich, lots of teeth.
There's
So
a lot of yellow
works a lot
pirates in
with
this
them.
episode.
Yeah, it's really
it's
coming
true.
through.
The colour of
the
pirate.
king in yellow.
Oh, I imagine the king in
Maybe
yellow
he's
is
the
just
Imperial
Captain
pirate.
Badrock.
He's just Captain Badrock.
Dan Abnett has been having us on for ages. So yeah, they do a lot of work with the Bad Moon clan, and he's probably like one of the few orcs that actually cares about like luxury. So he has a proper throne. He likes a velvet coat.
Of course he does.
He calls himself the Snaz Boss because he likes to be snazzy.
Oh, Snaz Boss.
Boss.
That's a great nickname. If you get known as the Snaz Boss.
I can picture his ship as being like in the classic like squat fore and aft castle classic pirate ship shape.
You can imagine that, but all like kind of higgledy-piggledy put together style. It's called the Black Tooth, his ship. He rides on the Black Tooth.
Excellent.
If you liked Snaz Boss, Stoney, you'll like the fact that his signature weapon called Da Ripper is a particularly nasty form of snaz gun. If you can't stick more snazzy things on it, then you can never have too much snaz on your snaz gun. And he also has a power claw, because
he's an orc.
What pirate doesn't have a claw? And he'll attack anyone, really. It doesn't matter what race. He goes after whoever he wants. If he sees something shiny, he goes after it and he likes it. And that means that he's got cool stuff, He's got lots of money. He's got red stuff that goes faster. He's got weird techie stuff. He's got looted stuff that he doesn't know how to use. He just acts like he can do whatever he wants, I suppose. But at the same time, is a bit of an aristocrat. So everyone knows him amongst the orc war bosses. So like Gazgols will ring him up sometimes and be like, "Can you get the freebooter lads down? Like, give us a hand out here." He kind of comes and goes as he pleases, but everyone respects him because he is the most orky of orcs, I suppose.
I guess so. There's room for everyone on Badrock's crew. All you need is a Hawaiian shirt and a good attitude, and you can get on board.
But the freebooters definitely operate like outside of that clan hierarchy. Like they can work with everyone, but I do think they're often seen, and like if you've got the Orc Codex out, the freebooters and Badrock are going to be on the Bad Moons page, like they always have been in the yellow page. But I don't think they're necessarily like Bad Moon only. They are their own guys.
Yeah, I found that cutscene of the orc pirates raiding the Imperial Navy fleet, which was from the Battlefleet Gothic video game, which is quite a recent game, but they're freebooters in there, and that's quite a cool clip. From what I could tell, there's a mission in the game where you have to defend your fleet against orc pirates. I mean, orc pirates are they're the pirates in 40k, really.
Yeah, I think he's the main man, isn't he? Like I can imagine that. I can imagine
the model is a classic model.
Badrock and Thazar would get on like a house on fire.
Yeah,
like those guys are going to be. They're going to be the ones, like that bit on Pirates of the Caribbean where Johnny Depp goes and meets his dad, and his dad's Keith Richards, and then you've got like old Elizabeth Swann. She's like the Prince Ariel fella, She's gone to private school. She's like upper class. She's trying to fit in, but you got Keith and Johnny Depp there. That's Badrock and Thazar.
Yeah.
Except no imitation. The real pirates. They're not privateers. They don't have allegiances. They're not clean. They just pirate and do piratey things.
I know we touched on the Red Corsairs, but I don't really remember reading about any Chaos pirates. I mean, there must be.
I guess the whole Chaos vibe is kind of piratical to start with. Because
I was thinking of what's the like the Davy Jones character in Pirates of the Caribbean? The guy, what's the octopus guy? You know,
Yeah.
that whole crew. I mean, that's kind of chaosy.
Yeah.
Like the Eye of Terror must have had loads of pirates in.
I think there's definitely like over the years, Chaos has to scavenge in order to survive, right? Because they don't have Forge Worlds and stuff like that. So there's all of that.
Yeah.
Then you've got like there are things like you've got the Reeve Lords as part of the Night Lords, you know. You've got the Drukari Raiders are pirates to an extent, aren't they? Really?
Yeah.
But they like kidnap people. They're more like kind of Viking raiders.
But they're maybe the most piratey of all because they just kind of they have to go into real space to, you know, again, society exists on taking slaves, I guess, but
they're the only ones with like legit pirate models in the game, the Dark Eldar, right? Their transports all look like pirate ships.
Yeah,
I mean, actually, that now you say it, they're ships that like the North African Barbary pirates that used to raid all over the Mediterranean, even up into Cornwall, hundreds of years ago, not that long ago, but stealing people for the slave trade, which actually is kind of very much like the Dark Eldar. Yeah, they do look like pirates. They do look like small sailing ships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think they don't really have anyone with that pirate spirit. They're all just, I think,
they're
Chaos,
not
wearing
a funny hat.
No.
Yeah.
Just
Where's the peg leg?
You know,
but then maybe that's
they've
it.
Got no
How
fun.
is it? When did pirates become, you know, like when did the image of pirates change? If you go to a kid's party now, they're all dressed up like a pirate, and it's like that's a sea rapist, and somehow it's like, and it's like no, but now somehow their reputation has gone from sea rapist to acceptable for a kid's birthday party.
Yeah.
Well,
true.
I think Jack Sparrow is probably the modern twist on it, isn't it? And then I suppose at the time of privateering, like people loved people like Francis Drake, you know, like he was worshipped by people as like tales of the main privateer from your country, you know.
Yeah.
Is
I guess
there's been a love affair with it for a while. It's the idea of not conforming and going out and making your own money, but also kind of working for your country at the same time.
I mean, let's face it, every time you have a bad day at work, you're like, shall I just go and become a pirate? You know, like, I mean, come on, we've all had that inclination.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're only stealing from the bad guys, what's the harm?
Yeah, could Robin Hood and pirating kind of get together and just have a big chill, sort of never-ending stag do at sea?
That's right, landlubbers. That's all the information you need on 40k Pirates. Arr! They drink space rum and sing space sea shanties, they do, like that old classic. Spaceman, I always wanted you to go into Spaceman. Arr! It makes your heart long for the stars, don't it? We'll see you next time on another episode of the Large Blast Podcast.